Om Sadashivasamarambham
Om Sadasivasamarambham
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Asmadacharya Paryantam
Asmadacharya Paryantam
Vande Guru Paramparam
Vande Guru Paramparam
Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha
Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha
Bhadram Pashye Makshabhiryajatraha
Bhadram Pasye Makshabhiryajatraha
Sthirairangai Stuštuvagum Sastanubhihi
Sthirairangai Sustuvagum Sastanubhihi
Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu
Vyasema Devahitam Yadayuhu
Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravaha
Swasti na Indro Vruddhasravaha
Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha
Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha
Swasti na Starkshyo Arishtanemihi
Swasti na Starkshyo Arishtanemihi
Swasti no Brihaspati'r Dadhatu
Swasti no Brihaspati'r Dadhatu
Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi
Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi
Tapasa Chiyate Brahma
Tapasa Chiyate Brahma
Tato Annam Abhijayate
Tato Annam Abhijayate
Annat Prano Manaha
Annat Prano Manaha
Satyam Lokah Karmasu cha Amritam
Satyam Lokah Karmasu cha Amritam.
So we were looking at this particular verse where there is a Srishti Krama is given here, how the creation happened. So as I told you, in different Upanishads, the creation, about creation, there is a certain description is given, and they are all not same also. Sometimes it is slightly different. So here in fact, we are talking about this Brahman identifying itself with all knowledge. Okay, tapasa. Tapas here is Jnanamayam Tapaha. In the next verse we will see. So the tapas is in the form of knowledge only. Okay, so that Brahman identifying itself with all knowledge is this tapas. Okay, so here, see, when we talk about this creation or Srishti, then Sthiti, whatever the creation exists, it is sustained. Then we have a dissolution or pralaya. So after pralaya, everything is supposed to be in some equilibrium. Okay. So generally we talk about three gunas. Okay. The Prakriti is supposed to be the cause or the material cause of this whole creation, and this Prakriti is supposed to have three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So when Sattva, Rajas and Tamas are in equilibrium, then you don't have any manifestation of the Prakriti. Prakriti becomes unmanifest, and that is what we call as pralaya or dissolution. Okay. So actually in our understanding, there is no destruction. Sometimes they say pralaya is destruction or Shiva is the god of destruction and all that. It is more like withdrawing. Okay, Bhagavan withdraws the manifestation again. and everything goes back into an equilibrium. So in equilibrium everything is unmanifest and the trigunas are also in equilibrium. In fact, the one of the darshanas, the traditional darshanas is Sankhya darshana is there. So the Sankhya darshana only they talk about Prakriti and Purusha. Okay, the another name for this Prakriti is Pradhana. So they talk about a Pradhana which is the material cause for this entire creation, and Purusha is only Sannidhi Matram. Purusha cannot do anything. Purusha is the conscious principle and Purusha is there. Prakriti is made up of these three gunas and Prakriti is in equilibrium, and when this equilibrium is disturbed, so the disturbance, how it happens and all, there are discussions are there. Now Prakriti by itself cannot get disturbed. It is something like our Newton's law of inertia, I think. So they have a discussion. So whatever is already in equilibrium cannot be disturbed unless some other external force is there to disturb, and who can be this external force and all that, there is a discussion. So here some Sankhya people do not accept Isvara. Okay, so there are Nirishwara Sankhya people are there. They say that Pradhana alone is the Karanam. But then there are others who accept an Isvara. So they say Isvara only disturbs this equilibrium, or the Purusha in the form of Isvara disturbs this equilibrium. Like this also there is a discussion there. So here also it is something similar when we say tapasa chiyate Brahma. So Brahma bulges as though it bulges. Okay, like a seed bulges before it sprouts, Brahman also bulges because of its tapas. Tapas here is this knowledge. So this identification with knowledge, only when it happens, this avyakta is first there, which is called as annam here. Okay, so this identification is the initial disturbance. So this identification means even for us, let us say a lot of knowledge we have, correct? Everything is there in memory, but we don't recollect it or identify with our knowledge all the time. But when we want, we can recollect it, and in some cases we can even visualize based on our knowledge. Okay, so you know about something, you can visualize about that in your mind. So something similar only is talked about here. So for Bhagavan, this all knowledge has to be identified with. Bhagavan has to identify, or Brahman has to identify with all knowledge, then only it becomes Isvara. So to identify with this all knowledge means we require an upadhi. So Brahman itself cannot even do this identification. Brahman doesn't have any change. Brahman cannot change in any manner. The change also is only apparent, or this identification with this all knowledge is brought about only because of Maya. So we have to talk about Maya here. So using with this Maya Upadhi, or from the standpoint of creation and the Maya Upadhi, only Brahman is Isvara. Brahman is talked about as Isvara. In its own standpoint, Brahman is Brahman. Brahman is not creator, or Brahman cannot be even called Isvara. So that also we have to understand. So this identification, why should it happen? Because only when Brahman identifies with this unmanifest, or with the whatever prior knowledge, because prior knowledge is there in the form of unmanifest, and Brahman has to identify with that, then only it comes into being, correct? The unmanifest first comes into being. So that is the start of the the equilibrium getting disturbed. So why should it happen? Because Brahman by itself or Isvara also does not have any karma. Understand this. Isvara does not have any requirement to manifest anything. Isvara does not have to undergo any experiences to get rid of or whatever use some karma. It is only the jivas. So all the jivatmas, they only have this karma, and the karma has to be always, you have to exhaust it only by experiencing it. Avashyam bhavitvat, like this Shankara also says in the Bhashyam. So karma has to be exhausted, okay, by experiencing it. So that is why Isvara has to actually identify with all knowledge and visualize this whole creation. The whole creation then gets manifest. So it is more like a visualization based on knowledge. There is no other karma, because Isvara is Satya Sankalpaha. Isvara has to only do a Sankalpa. Isvara does not need to do any karma or anything to create this world. So the better analogy to understand is our own dream world. So again, the dream world is a projection of our own mind, and it is a projection of our own knowledge. Similarly, this entire creation also is a projection of Isvara's knowledge, all knowledge. So like in the dream world also, the dream space is whatever we have already experienced space, correct? That's why we are able to dream about that. So dream space time, whatever we see in dreams, all these things are all our own knowledge getting projected. Again, why should even a dream be projected? Because let us say your sleep itself is like a equilibrium state, correct? Once we have gone into sleep, I don't see any reason why we should even get up, because sleep we don't have any problem, correct? We don't have really any problem. You may have thousands of issues while awake, or even in dream you may have some issues. But once you go into deep sleep, there are no issues, there are no problems. So there is no reason why we should even get up really. So even getting up from sleep is more because of our karma only. So one way of looking at it is because of karma. Of course, modern scientists will say something else. So they may give a more physical explanation for that the body has to get up, it cannot keep lying down, or it has to have food anyway, like that. So they may have a different explanation for that. So, but one way of looking at it is karma has to be exhausted. Unless I come back to the waking state, to the waking world, I cannot exhaust my karma with which I have taken this birth. So the very birth and all the experiences we are going through are all for exhausting the karma, and whatever karma we are supposed to exhaust in this particular life is called prarabdham karma. Prarabdha karma means the karma which has already started exhausting in this life and which is the cause for this particular life. So this karma is an important thing, and that is the kind of explanation we can give why Isvara has to actually identify with this all knowledge and bring about this creation. So here the order is given as, once this Brahma gets ready for creation, correct? Tapasa chiyate Brahma. Once Brahman starts identifying with all knowledge, from that is born the unmanifest. Annam abhijayate. Annam means adyate iti annam, that which is eaten or digested is food. So here the unmanifest is known as annam because the previous srishti has been digested, correct? When it has gone into pralaya, it is also like it has been digested like anna. So that's why here the term annam is used for unmanifest. Also it represents all the experiences which the jivas have to undergo now. It's all in the form of unmanifest. Because adyate means to experience also in one way. It's not just eating. Whatever all the experiences which we undergo are also in one form, they are actually going into us, correct? Through our sense organs. That also is called annam. So from the unmanifest, annat pranaha. So the prana here is the collective prana again, because here we are talking about the srishti of the entire universe. It cannot be the prana of an individual. This is the total prana. Shankara in the Bhashya says this is Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha means this is where actually the Brahmaji, we can say Hiranyagarbha is the Hiranyam Garbha. Yes, yes. So Hiranyam means knowledge again here, because that which shines, that is knowledge. So one who is pregnant with knowledge, one who is all knowledge, that is Hiranyagarbha. So to be the creator, you have to be the knower. Unless you know something, you can't create it, correct? Even a pot maker has to first know how to make the pot. So here the all knowing total sukshma sharira is the Hiranyagarbha or prana, and from that manaha. Okay, manaha again here is this also is not for an individual. This is talked about at the cosmic level. Okay, and satyam. So satyam here means the physical world. Pranaha and manaha are all sukshma. So initially the subtle world is there. Okay, and from the sukshma we get the stula. Stula are physical manifestation. That is called satyam because it is tangible. Okay, here the tangible world is known as satyam. It's not in the term normally we use. Ontologically, when we say satyam, trikale api tishtati iti satyam, that is a different understanding. Here, that which you can really feel, touch, all that. Okay, it is a tangible world, physical world. That is called satyam here. The five mahabhutas, the stula bhutas, akasha, vayu, agni, apaha and prithvi. Again in Taittiriya Upanishad, if you see, there is an explicit sequence is given. In this Upanishad it is not given like that. They have simply said satyam. Satyam means all the five bhutas have come from this Brahman, we have to understand. And then all the lokas. So once we talk about the physical world and also the different worlds again. So we have this understanding that there are 7 worlds above, 7 below also. Okay, so the 7 worlds above, if you say Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Tapaha, Janaha, Satyam, like that, there are 7 words are there. Then up to Patala, also 7 worlds down where the experience is not very pleasant. Okay, and the 7 Swargas where the experience is good, they are talked about. So all these different lokas are there, and then karma. So again bhutas are there, living beings are there, they have Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. Okay, so Brahmaji, when we say this Manaha, cosmic mind, Brahmaji also has all this at a cosmic level. Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti is there. That's why our gods are also talked about with many wives and all that, correct? So that is because each is a manifestation of one Shakti. So it's not to promote any polygamy or anything, I don't think so, but the Shakti, the different manifestations of Shakti is depicted like that. So once you have this Kriya Shakti, you can do karma, and again you have the desire to enjoy also, that has to be there first. So as soon as these jivas are manifest, the jiva has avidya. Okay, because of that, one takes oneself as a limited being, and as soon as you think you are a limited being, then you want to achieve something. You can't escape that. Okay, so you want to do something, you want to gain something in the hope that that will make you happy, like that. So the whole thing starts. That is the samsara, and from that karma, the karma phala are there, that is called amritam. Why the karma phala is talked about as amritam is because of the avashyam bhavitva. So once the karma, this papa and punya are gained, you have to experience it, or you have to gain the knowledge that you are not a karta and bhokta. See, only two ways this karma phala can be taken care of. One is you have to experience and exhaust it, or you have to gain this jnanam that I am not a karta, I am not a bhokta, my reality is different. So with that understanding, you can get rid of all the karma. Otherwise, karma phala has to be experienced. That's why it is called amritam. It doesn't go away by itself. You have to experience it, and that is why it is called, even after many kalpas. It may not be immediate, but it is talked about in the Shastra that even karma which is done now, you may experience the phala of that anytime later. So this karma and karma phala, how we talk about in our tradition also, all of you should be clear. See, karma means any action produces two results. One is drishta phala, another is adrishta phala. So drishta phala is whatever we immediately experience as a result of doing something. Even if you do a homa, the immediate drishta phala is you may be crying because you have to sit in near the fire, there may be a lot of smoke and you may feel tired, or you may feel good also. It all depends on different people how they feel about it. So there is a drishta phalam, but depending on what you have done, whether what you have done is right or wrong, and whether you have done it properly, based on all that, you also gain adrishta phalam. Adrishta means unseen. So we have a seen result. Drishta phalam means immediately we experience it, we see it. Adrishta means it is unseen. The adrishta phalam only is two types, papa and punya. So papa means if you have done something wrong, then you accrue, papa accrues to your account. Okay, you gain papa. If you do the right thing, you gain punya. So this is our Vedic understanding of our own experiences. This can be corroborated in our daily life also, correct? Because in spite of our effort, there is always some other variable operating which actually gives us the results of our action. So one day without much effort we are getting lot more, correct? Then you feel that you are lucky. Some other day, even with proper effort and lot of effort also, you are not getting what you want. That day you feel you are unlucky. So this luck is a universal experience, and according to our Shastra, there is nothing called luck. It's not chance. It is based on your own papa and punya only. You are undergoing different experiences. So that way you can take responsibility for your own experiences and not blame anybody else. So it is a great shock absorber. Even if something happens, if you are able to accept it as your karma, then you can do something about it. Because again, Shastra also tells that you don't have to lie down and blame anybody. You can accept it as karma, your own karma, and then there are prayaschitta also are there. That is how Jyotisha also is relevant. Understand that. The Jyotisha is always about prescribing prayaschitta karma. Actually a good astrologer is not predicting your future. He is actually looking at your horoscope and predicting your prarabdha. So how your prarabdha is supposed to unfold. And then if there is something of concern there, the astrologer is prescribing you antidote, I would say, correct? So, or some kind of antibiotic kind of a thing. That is all the karma. So they say you go and do for so many weeks, you go to this temple, or you do this homa, or you do this puja, or every day you chant some mantra. So like this, they give you some prayaschitta karma. So the prayaschitta karma again has meaning only if you accept already that prarabdha karma is there. And prayaschitta karma is to neutralize the papa in your prarabdha karma. Not only prayaschitta karma, every day nitya karma also is important in that. So according to our tradition, we have to do pancha maha yajna. Okay. What are these pancha maha yajna? One is brahma yajnam. Brahma yajnam means towards the Veda. We have a rina, we call it, correct? So rina means we have taken a loan as though we are indebted to the Veda. So how do we take care of that? By doing adhyapanam. Okay, adhyayanam, adhyapanam. So you have to chant Veda every day. So even in Taittiriya Upanishad it says Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam, like that. Swadhyaya and pravachana you should not disregard. Okay, Swadhyaya means you study yourself. Pravachana means you teach others. So studying and teaching the Veda is an important part. That is called Brahma Yajna. Of course, there is a karma also called Brahma Yajna, which we can do every day. Then we have Pitru. We have towards our Pitru also we have a Rina, because we are here because of our forefathers, correct? And we are indebted to them. So towards them we have to do Tarpana. Okay. So Pitru Tarpana is very important in our culture. Even many people who don't otherwise do any karma are not very religious. Every year they will at least do the Tarpana. I have seen that. Because at least we can deny God, but we cannot deny our forefathers, correct? So towards them, if you are able to do something, even psychologically it's a good thing, correct? You feel good doing something, you are able to do something for your forefathers, your pitris. So Tarpana is an important karma. Then we have Bhuta Yajna also we have to do. Towards other living beings, you have to do Bali. Correct? Every day, in fact, even now we have a tradition that we keep food for birds, correct? Particularly crows and other birds, and then only we eat. Even though we are in the apartment complex and all that, even now in the balcony at least we keep food for the birds. So Bhuta Bali we have to do. Okay, then Rishis also we have a Rina, because they are the ones who received this Veda and they have given it to us, correct? So we have to do puja for them. That's all part of Brahma Yajna itself. Then Devatas. So Deva Yajna also we have to do. That is where the actual Yajna we talk about, correct? Vedic Yajna are all for the Devatas. Different Devatas, Indra, Varuna, they are all doing their cosmic job. If the Devatas don't do their job, then we have problems. So we have phenomena like El Nino and all that now they are talking about. That is all at the level of the universe, correct? So many things have to be in equilibrium for this universe to function correctly. So many people, some people even talk about that if some constant in physics is slightly different, this whole world would have been different, or we may not be here, and things like this. So anyway, So the devatas also we have to take care of. That's why we do this different yajna every day. Agnihotra, the yajna are there. We'll talk about that in Mundakopanishad also later. So we have Brahma yajna, Pitri yajna, Deva yajna, Bhuta yajna, and Nara yajna also. Finally, for our fellow human beings also we have to do something every day. And what is that? That is what we call Athityam, correct? Atiti Satkara. So there is a tradition in the villages even now that they will come out and ask, or they will shout, is there anybody who can have food, who wants to have food and all that. So every day you are supposed to feed some guests and then only have your own food. So this Athityam is a very important thing. Atiti means, Tithi means date, correct? Date or particular Tithi we have, correct? So Prathama, Ditiya and all that. So in our calendar, the lunar day is called a Tithi. And Atithi means one who comes without any Tithi. That means one who calls you and you make all nice food and all that. That is not guest really. Guest means they should come without telling you, without informing you before. Such a person is called Atithi. If they call you and inform you and all that and RSVP and all you take, means that is not guest. Understand that. At least according to the word, if we go into the etymology of the word Atithi, means the person comes to your place uninformed and still you have to treat him well. That is the idea there. So like this Pancha Maha Yajna we have to do. And it is very important, all this karma. By this karma we are gaining some punya, even by all this Nitya karma. And that punya will help us to actually take care of all our papa. Okay. So that is the idea here. So this karma we have to understand, and prayer also in our tradition is supposed to produce any prayer, any puja, any religious karma we do will give you punya, and that punya is either going to neutralize some papa or going to give you a pleasant experience later on. That is the understanding. So like this, there is a Srishti Krama has been presented here. From the unmanifest, first you have the Hiranyagarbha, who is nothing but all knowledge, and that Hiranyagarbha or Brahmaji only visualizes and creates or manifests this entire world. Then the whole Sukshma world comes first, that is Mana, and from there the Stula world comes, which is known as Satyam here. And in the Stula world you have all these different lokas and then karma, and karma, from the karma you have the karma phala. So now why has Upanishad presented this? The Tatparya here is to show that Brahman is the cause of everything, that we should not forget. See, the Upanishad itself is not interested in talking about how this creation came and all that. The creation is already there and it has to be explained away. And how does it explain it away? By showing that this entire creation is non-separate from that Brahman, which is the cause. The creation is only an effect. And if Brahman is the cause of this entire creation, both the Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana, the effect is nothing but Mithya. The effect does not really count. And knowing that Brahman, it is as good as knowing everything else. That is the original question. We have to always connect whatever is there here with that. Okay, so now the last verse in this first khanda we will see, which is like a summarization of whatever was told before. Okay, so let us see that. Yes, Sarvajnaha
Yes, Sarvajnaha.
Vidyasya.
सर्वविद्यस्य
Anamayam tapaha.
ज्ञानमयं तपः
Tmadetad brahma.
तस्मादेतत् ब्रह्म
Marupamannam.
नामरूपमन्नं
Jayate.
च जायते
So here, Yaha means the one who has been talked about till now. Okay, the one about whom we are talking about. The subject matter right now is Brahman or Isvara, because Brahman is the cause of everything. That Brahman is what? Sarvajnaha, the one who knows everything. Again here there are two words are there. Sarvajnaha, Sarvavit. Yaha Sarvajnaha, Sarvavit. Yasya Jnanamayam Tapaha. So again, if you just look at the word meaning, Sarvajnaha means Sarvam Janati, iti Sarvajnaha. Sarvavit means Sarvam Veti, iti Sarvavit. Both means only all knowing. Since two words are there, Shankara is giving the meaning that Sarvajnaha means one who knows everything in general, okay, as a class, as a category. And Sarvavit means one who knows everything in detail. So this differentiation also is important for us to understand. Now, knowing everything in general means we can understand this whole creation, this whole world as Brahman, correct? This part we all understand, that is the teaching here. And if you look at the whole world as Brahman, then Brahman alone is there. Because the entire creation becomes Mithya. And the one who has understood that is a Sarvajnaha. Okay. So a Sarvajnaha, even a Jnani can be a Sarvajnaha. Because the Jnani understands the whole creation, including one's own body, mind, sense, as nothing but Brahman. And Brahman alone counts. All other things don't count really. But Sarvavit means only Isvara can be Sarvavit. Because with this mind, we cannot be Sarvavit. Because the mind itself is a limited instrument. We can only know things in sequence. There is a certain limitation in terms of how we can use our mind and how we can sense things through our sense organs. So, as an individual, I cannot be Sarvavit. Only Isvara can be Sarvavit because Isvara has Maya Upadhi. And the Isvara Upadhi is different. And Isvara can know everything at once. Isvara need not know things in a certain sequence or has no limitation with respect to knowing also. That's why Isvara is Sarvavit. And Isvara is Sarvajnaha also, because Isvara knows everything in general and everything in particular. But we, as an individual, we cannot know everything in detail. That is not possible. But we can know everything as Brahman. That is the Jnani. And that is the context in which the original question also was asked. Okay, so we have to understand that. So here Isvara is both Sarvajnaha and Sarvavit, and Yasya Jnanamayam Tapaha, and his tapas is nothing but in the form of Jnana or a modification of Jnanam. That means it's a visualization we can take. Okay, so Isvara's tapas brought this world, and what is that? The nature of that tapas? It's in the nature of visualizing one's own knowledge or identifying with one's own knowledge. That is the tapas, and because of the tapas only this whole creation has come. So tasmat etad brahma. So from that Isvara, who is Sarvajnaha and Sarvavit and whose tapas is Jnanamayam, etad brahma. Here etad brahma is Brahmaji, okay, the Hiranyagarbha. because the context is like this. Brahma has come from that Sarvajnaha Brahma means this Brahma is Brahmaji or Hiranyagarbha, the Sutratma, okay, or the total Sukshma is called Brahma here. And from that Brahma, Nama Rupam. So Nama Rupam, when we say the Stula Jagat has come into the picture, this entire creation is nothing but names and forms. And again, you take any one thing, more names and forms. Okay, you take flower. Flower is one word. Okay, and it has a certain form. Then again, flower has petals. It has stamen, whatever. So many things. It has some other parts, correct? So if you are a biologist, you can say so many things about a flower. Or you take any other thing, you take a car. Car is one word, but again car has so many other words in it, correct? It has a steering wheel, it has an engine, it has tires, it has seats, it has a windshield. So one name and form if you take, it leads to more and more names and forms only. Finally, what is really existent is Brahman alone. Okay, all other things are only names and forms. That's what we have to understand here. So anyway, the physical world has come from this Sukshma, this total Sukshma, Hiranyagarbha, and food also, Annam. Here Annam is food, Annam cha jayate. So this final verse is more of a summary of how this creation has come about. And with this, the original question also is answered, because all that is here is nothing but Brahman. And knowing that Brahman, you know everything as well. And you also become a Sarvajnaha. Is that clear? So that is the idea here. So with this, we have actually completed the first khanda. Now we are moving to the second khanda. So the first khanda of Mundaka-Upanishad is about the Paravidya, correct? Because Yaya Tad Aksharam Adhigamyate, like that Paravidya was talked about. That Paravidya is about knowing the nature of this Aksharam Brahma. That same Aksharam Brahma is talked about in this final verse as Yaha Sarvajnaha, as Isvara. See, Aksharam is neuter and Sarvajnaha and all is masculine. So that Brahman alone is this Isvara. And we have to understand that Brahman as Abhinna Nimitta Upadanam. So this Paravidya only is the topic of this first khanda of the Mundakopanishad. Now we are going to see the Aparavidya in the next khanda. Now Aparavidya also is important because it is a sadhana for the Paravidya. For you to gain the Paravidya, Aparavidya is important because Aparavidya includes all the religious knowledge also. Even studying Veda, the Veda Adhyayanam, Shiksha, Kalpam, Niriktam, Vyakaranam, Chandas, Jyotish, the Upangas, everything is Aparavidya. And Aparavidya, you have to know, included in that is even logic, okay, and even all other disciplines of knowledge. Our modern scientific knowledge are also Aparavidya. They are all important in their own way. They give you the intellectual infrastructure so that you can understand the Paravidya. Both intellectual and emotional infrastructure is very important for us to understand Paravidya. So for that, Aparavidya also has to be talked about. But again, initially this in second khanda about Vaidika karma only this Mundaka-Upanishad is talking about. Of course, that is the main thing in a Vaidika's life. The Vaidika karma are important, okay, the Agni karma. But those things are not very prevalent nowadays, correct? Very few people are really doing Nitya Agnihotram. although there are many people called Agnihotris still, okay, whoever has a surname of Agnihotri means that they are coming from a family where people were doing Agnihotra every day. In fact, in my school there was a Rati Agnihotri, she studied, but I don't think she has any connection with Agnihotra other than having the name, I think. Okay.
Yeah, my mom's like from my mother's maiden name was Agnihotri.
Okay, so even see, so many names are there like that. Our former Prime Minister Vajpayee. So Vajpayee means one who has done Vajpayee Yajna, or somebody in their family has done. Then only you can become a Vajpayee. And it's a very elaborate ritual. Okay. Similarly, Somayaji, even that Shankarabharanam Somayajulu was there, correct? He was like a superstar at one time. And Somayajulu also in Telugu is the same thing. Somayaji means he may not have done any Somayaga, but his forefathers, somebody has done Somayaga. That's why they have that name. So like this, the surnames are all related to karma. Even Trivedi, Chaturvedi. Chaturvedi means they have studied all 4 Vedas, and it is not a simple task, understand that. Because each Veda may take up to 8 years. That means at least they have spent 25-30 years of their life learning everything. So Chaturvedis are there. Today they have only the surname. They have no relationship to any Veda or anything Vaidika, I think. But anyway, the idea here is Vaidika karma are important means for us to do sadhana, correct? Because when we do karma with the right attitude, that karma itself becomes karma yoga. Okay, and so that attitudinal change is very important, and karma yoga only is going to purify you. Okay, it will give you antakarana shuddhi. And this antakarana shuddhi and antakarana naishchalyam, 2 things we talk about. So antakarana shuddhi means being free from your likes and dislikes. The ability to do things. If it is to be done, we should be able to do it without having any emotional problem in doing something. And the ability to accept the results of action as prasada. So if you have this, then you have a certain mastery over your own likes and dislikes. That's a very important thing. Then antakarana naishchalyam means what? Your mind is calm. It does not get easily disturbed. You are able to focus on something continuously, okay, let us say. So these things are very, very important, these 2 things. Again, for antakarana naishchalyam only we talk about upasana, different types of meditations and all that. So these 2 things are important. That's why Upanishad also is now going to talk about karma. But the beauty here is Upanishad talks about karma, but later on it will do a ninda also. It will say that those who think that this karma phala itself is moksha are all mudaha, like that. Again, muda here means, yeah.
Hey Jay,
Yeah.
at least I lost you for a minute. The circle thing came.
What
If
about
it comes again, you. How about others?
I didn't listen. No, I didn't.
Okay,
I
then.
didn't listen.
Sorry.
It's your
Sorry.
network problem, I think. It's okay.
Okay, continue. Thanks.
Continue. So what I was telling is, this karma, those who do karma for karma phala itself, they have a problem, correct? Because if the karma phala which they are expecting, they don't get it, then they are going to be disappointed here. That is one problem. Even if they get the desired karma phala is anitya, whether it is a drishta phala here or even adrishta phala. Let us say you go to Swarga, you can go to Swarga, But even whichever Swarga you go, as soon as your Punya is over, you are to come back. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahma Bhonal Lokat Punaravartinorjuna. So, Brahma Loka, starting from the Brahma Loka to this world, whatever this earth, Brahma Bhonal Lokan Punaravartinaha. Punaravartinaha means what? You have to come back again and again. That means you go there and then you get out. You have to get out of there also. You can't be there. There is nothing called eternal heaven in our Vaidika tradition. Understand that. Only some other theologies talk about eternal heaven, but I don't know what is their real understanding, because eternal heaven itself is illogical. Because something in time will end with time. Only that which is beyond time can be eternal. So something cannot be eternal and also a place which you have to visit hereafter. If you are going to visit a place hereafter, and that place again you have to get out of that place also in time. Understand that. So whatever you attain in time, you will have to lose it in time itself. It cannot be eternal. So our Shastra is very clear about that. Even if you go to Brahmaloka, you have to come back. Once your punya is exhausted, you will be kicked out. Understand that? So this karma phala itself cannot be your final goal. Those who think that that is moksha are all muda. Muda means it's not like idiots or anything. It is more like deluded. Even very intelligent people can be deluded about certain things. Understand that. That we see even in our everyday life, correct? Some people are very intelligent, we know that they are very intelligent, but with respect to a certain aspect or some issue, they can be deluded. The reason may be even something emotional. It may not be even an intellectual problem. They simply refuse to see certain things in certain ways. So this problem is there. So we have to say people can be deluded and people are deluded. That is what the Upanishad is going to talk about. Let us just chant the first verse of the second khanda. Tadetat satyam.
Tadetat satyam.
Mantreshu karmani.
Mantreshu karmani.
Kavayo yanyapashyan.
Kavayo yanyapashyan.
Tani tretayam.
Tani tretayam.
Buddha santatani.
Bahudha santatani.
Tani acharatha.
Tanyacharatha.
Niyatam satyakamaha.
Niyatam satyakamaha.
Eshavaha panthaha.
Eshavaha panthaha.
Tasya loke.
Sukrutasya loke.
Tad etad satyam. This tad etad is a very, very Sanskrit kind of expression. That which is this. Tad etad means that which I really want to tell you now. Because whatever I want to tell you is there in my mind, correct? And that is this for me, because I know what it is. So sometimes I even say, you know, that day I met this man in some place in Dallas. Now this man, I say, because that man is this for me, in my mind I am clear. Understand that. But for you, it is that, because you don't know. So for you, it's that man, although it is this man for me. Similarly here, the Upanishad is about to tell something. So it says tad etat satyam. So whatever is going to be, that which is said now is satyam. It is true. What is that? Mantreshu karmani kavayaha yani apashyan. Tani tretayam bahuda santatani. So, Yani Karmani Kavayaha Mantreshu Apashyan. So all these karma which the rishis, here Kavi means rishis, okay, Kavayaha. Kavi means one who can see much more than what we normal people can see, okay. Even a poet is seeing something more, correct? That's why they are able to play with the words. They have a certain way of seeing things which we don't have. That is the creativity. Here this word Kavi is used in general for rishis also, because they are the ones who are actually seeing this entire Veda, correct? They are the ones who have seen it and then they have taught it to everybody else. They are the mantra drashtaraha. So they are called Kavi here. So whatever karma here means in the Veda mantra only all this karma are all talked about. Particularly in the Yajurveda, lot of karma are there. The Rig Veda is all mantra, mostly praising different devatas. Samaveda also is nothing but the same Rig mantras sung in a particular manner. And Yajurveda has all these prayogas, how to do the different karma using different mantra and all that. So this Veda which was seen, Apashyan here, see, which was seen by these rishis and different mantras and karma, okay. So different karma in these mantras, and they have been Tani Tretayam Bahuda Santatani. So they have been talked about in detail, correct? Bahuda, in a multifarious ways. Tretayam here means not Treta Yuga or anything, it is the three Vedas, Rig, Yajus, Sama. So again, why even Atharva also we have to include here, because Atharva Veda also includes both mantra and prose portion. But Rig, Yajus, Sama, we call it three Vedas because of their speciality. Rig Veda is all mantra, as I told you, correct? And then Yajurveda is more prose, and it is talking about different karma, how to do, and Samaveda is about singing. And Yajurveda and Atharva Veda is having both rigs and also prose portion. So even when we say three Vedas, it actually includes all four. In fact, Mundakopanishad itself is part of Atharva Veda. So here when we say the three types of Veda, Rig, Yajus, Sama, Tani Tretayam Bahuda Santatani. So these karma, they have been talked about in many different ways in these three Vedas. And Tani Acharata, the Upanishad says, you follow all this karma, you follow them properly. Niyatam Acharata. So whatever has been prescribed, you follow them, because why? Satya Kamaha. So you are all desirous of, here Satya again is Karma Phala. We already saw in the previous verses itself, Satyam means Karma Phala. So here, those who are desirous of Karma Phala, you have to follow all this karma as given by our rishis in the Vedas. All the Vedic karma you have to do. Why? Because that alone, Yesha Vaha, for you, that is the means. Panthaha means path or means. Sukritasya loke. So when this karma is done well, okay, that becomes the means for you to gain the different lokas. Loka here means all pleasant experiences, because you have a desire to be in Swarga, or even if not Swarga, you want something pleasant experiences in this life, you want wealth. All karma. But only thing is, karma means you have to do it properly. That's why Sukritasya is also important here. You have to do it properly in the prescribed manner. and at the right time. You have to make the right effort. All these things are there. Then it becomes a means for attaining your desires, okay, and experiencing it. So that is what this particular mantra is. So here the Upanishad is telling you to do karma as given in the Veda. And again, the doing karma itself is important, because we are all, at least before we were exposed to Vedanta, we all thought that we are just this limited jiva with different desires, and if you have all these desires, you can't but have to do something about it. You can't be just sitting. So better do the karma which is prescribed in the Veda, at least, because at least it is dharmika karma. It is as per dharma. So if you do whatever is told by the Veda, at least you are a dharmika. You are not doing something adharmik, and again getting more papa. If you do the Vaidika karma, you will at least get punya. If not punya, if you don't do it properly also, at least you won't get any papa. So that way, the Upanishad, whatever the Upanishad is telling you, it is for your own good. Do the karma which is given by our rishis, okay, in the different Vedas. That is the meaning of this first verse. So we will close it here for today. We will continue in the next week. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnamevavashishyate
Purnamevavasishyate.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi Om.
Harihi Om.
Jay, I have a question.